Today I get to meet a man who has travelled the world for 20 months non-stop, and this experience has given him the motivation he needed to establish a career in travel journalism. Together with Brianna Weens, he co-hosts the inspirationally popular A Brit and Abroad, an innovative and unique travel video blog showcasing some really cool ways how you guys can go and experience what's out there in the world. So from your experience, what were the cheapest and most expensive places to travel, and were the most expensive places worth the money?
Good question. I mean, without a doubt, the cheapest places to travel were the Indian subcontinent. So for me, that was India, Bangladesh, and Nepal. I mean, we were getting away with about 400-500 quid a month, and that's all in, that's your accommodation, transport, food, activities. In South America, Peru can be quite cheap. Bolivia and Chile are very cheap once you get out, outside of the bigger cities. For expensive destinations, you're looking at basically all Western destinations. You see South Africa, America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand are the real big destinations that you're going to spend your most amount of money on. For there, you could be looking at a budget between £1,000 and £2,000 a month. And it could be even more than that if you want to do all the activities, the whitewater rafting, the skydiving, the bungee jumping. I think it's very important to pick and choose which activities you want to do and which places you really do want to see. I always promote a huge advocate of slow traveling. So instead of doing just 2 places, 2 nights in one destination, you spend 4 or 5, and then you do 1 or 2 tours spread out over those 5 days. And then the other days you're just chilling out with a beer and getting to know people. I mean, I'd say that every country is worth visiting at least once.
So has there ever been a time when you've been absolutely down to your last penny and you might perhaps have done some things that you wouldn't want to tell your grandchildren?
Yes, and I don't think I'm about to tell you either. Certainly there was a couple of times when I travelled and times are getting pretty tough. The best thing about that is when you're on the road, you can volunteer in a place. So I've volunteered in hostels before and usually get your food and accommodation taken care of, and sometimes you get some bit of money on the side. One particular thing that I always really recommend for people is called woofing. It's the worldwide organization of organic farmers. And essentially it's this database, it's this network where all the farmers register whether there's any work that needs to be done. So you go down and essentially you can stay for a week or 2 weeks or a month, and you just do work for a few hours a day, usually about 4 to 6 hours, and it could be tending the fields or planting seeds and crops or pruning. It could be learning a different skill, and essentially for that you get free food and free accommodation. And it's actually one of the best ways to see rural countries, rural parts of certain countries.
And how do you actually go about getting a job when you're out in these countries?
Straight up ask. You don't need a CV or a resume or anything like that. You can sign up to agencies, and there's a lot of working hostels that you can go to, and they'll hand out jobs to different people and for different amounts of times as well. So yeah, it's essentially, it just comes down to going up to people and just putting your face in front of someone, really.
Cool.
Yeah, if only it was as easy as it was getting a job over here.
If only.
Yeah.
So how does it work then? How much of your money do you have to budget for and prepare for in the beginning, and how much can you prepare to just earn on the go?
I mean, so I travelled, I went out with about £7,500, and I probably earned a further £2,500. So I think in the 20 months that I was travelling, it was about 10 grand, so about £500 a month, which was a very bottom level budget, right? Eating twice a day, the cheapest accommodation, really bartering for everything, local transport, which is the way I wanted to do it. And I know that there are people who wouldn't do it that way, and they'll have slightly higher budgets.
For people like me and possibly some of our viewers who have procrastinated on pressing that book button because of finances, feel like they've got too many commitments going on, what advice would you give us?
The biggest leap of faith is obviously buying that round the world ticket or buying that first flight somewhere. But as soon as you buy it, that's your first indicator that you're going to do it. That's your first step. That's your first commitment. I guess money and budget is the biggest thing that people worry about. And it just comes down to the wants and desires, how much do you want to have this life-changing experience? There are always ways you can cut back on things that aren't necessary in your life. Are you buying lunch? Make your own lunch. Are you getting public transport to work? Cycle to work. After that, you start researching, where you're staying, what activities you want to do. Make sure you always research your visa piece. A lot of people kind of forget that if they're going from Thailand into Laos, 2 different countries, you have to pay. But I always promote and encourage everyone to travel, whatever your background is, whatever you look like, regardless, just go and do it.
Well, we hope that inspired you to go ahead and book your ticket. So don't forget to check out A Brit and Abroad. You can also go and download his book from Amazon, which is
Your Around the World Trip Planner.
And it will be your round the world trip planner.